I did come here to this wonderful community that is thriving. It is growing. It is in the heart of everything Middlesex. So there's everything here to keep people here is what's important. So when you're looking at official plan policy and reviewing all of your documents, you have to make sure that we're accommodating all of that. What keeps me here is the people.
Yeah.
It is so friendly. And it is a place where people can raise family without the fear of the negative elements.
And there's people in the real estate profession. There's people that are real estate investors, builders, developers, people that are working from an infrastructure level. And that's our first guest. So I'm going to kick it off. I want to introduce Carolyn Tripp and discuss North Middlesex and her role as CAO, and really have a fireside chat that I would want to have with her to discuss, how they balance growth, sustainability, and planning from a governmental level, because then it's going to provide us a better ability to create a better community through what we do from a work perspective. So Carolyn, first off, why don't you explain a little bit about what your role is with North Middlesex and how you ended up in that career?
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And welcome to everyone here to Park Hill in North Middlesex and to this wonderful refurbishment of this beautiful building. I came to North Middlesex about a year and a half ago. Formerly, I've been CAO in a number of other municipalities. I started my career as a planner, registered professional planner in Muskoka. And my career has taken me across Ontario and gone to a number of different areas. But like I said, a year and a half ago, I did come here to this wonderful community that is thriving. It is growing. It is in the heart of everything Middlesex. And it's just a place that I have grown to love, even though in my short time being here.
And what did you learn from your planning days that you're using these days in your role as CAO?
As much as I'm not working as our planner, we have a wonderful planner working out of our office that provides planning services through the county of Middlesex. I do always wear my planner's hat as CAO. I look at everything through that lens, I'm afraid. I can't help it. Over 30 years as a planner, it's kind of a problem that I have, I guess. But I certainly look at all the opportunities. Mm-hmm. I look at things that we're doing that we can do to enhance the lifestyle, the community, the resources, the elements that we have in this community to make it a place to grow, a place where people want to live, to a place that, quite frankly, I want to be in. Mm-hmm. And I look at it through that lens, and it's interesting because my senior management team, I think I've picked that up and tend to be doing the same thing. So we work very much together as a team as opposed to singular individuals.
And to set the intention for what we're doing after this, we also have somebody from the economic development portion of North Middlesex and potentially another speaker coming. That's going to give you insights to how that team kind of integrates and works together. The reason why I asked you the question about the planning side, there's some restaurateurs in here as well. Knowing how to make the sauce is key, because then when you hire the right people that you're working with together, you can focus on strategic vision, knowing that the little things are taken care of and building that kind of team that you trust. When you're extending outside your direct, say, circle, and you're working with other people, whether it be builders, whether it be real estate agents, people in the financing industry, like they all have obviously a vested interest in what they are working on, but you really need to look at it from a 30,000 foot view and see, how do I integrate everything so that we're leading the community towards the right path? I'm sure there's challenges that come with that, but what are some best practices that you find lead to the best relationships outside of just your inner circle?
If I can step back for a moment, the first thing, putting on my planning hat again, is getting the direction from council through our official plan process. So where is development best suited to move forward, whether it be residential, commercial, institutional, whatever the case may be. So if we have our guiding principles set in place correctly, and we're just about to go through that official plan review process, It helps me when I'm speaking with the development community or business owners or people wanting to move to the community and potentially build something or develop something, is to lead them in the right path, making sure that they, number one, have all the knowledge they need to move forward with whatever initiative they would like, making sure that the path I'm leading them down is setting them up for success. There's nothing worse than having someone start on something and have all kinds of roadblocks in their way.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to make sure that we take some of those roadblocks out, that I try to enlighten them right from the beginning about what is necessary.
Sure.
So they have what you might call a checklist for success, and making sure all the players are there to help them. I don't pretend to be an expert in all fields.
Yeah.
We have staff in our infrastructure department and our economic development department, treasury, whatever the case may be. And I put them in touch with all the correct people to do all the things they need to do and assist in that way. And I think it's put us very well in a good place moving forward. You can see all the growth that's happening in North Middlesex.
It's wild, actually, if you step back, and this is a great venue to have this conversation in. There's so many people from the congregation that actually, when we listed this property, we were sending out invites. Your sister that got married here, right, Danielle? That's right. There was so much emotion tied to it, and you can tell so much pride. And then we started talking about Park Hill in so many different aspects, and I drive through Park Hill every single day, and it's been amazing to see North Middlesex change over the years. And we're in a bit of an interesting spot because we're the Switzerland of brokerages. We do every aspect, but we're not really a brokerage. We don't recruit. But we do see cross-pollination across agriculture, commercial, residential. We see new development, rehab projects. And the consumer habits are changing dramatically, like even in the last 5 years. And, everybody wants a hobby farm till they live on a hobby farm. And then the right people will end up living on them. And then, on the business side, people are looking at what could I do on the main strip? We were actually in a consultation last night, and somebody was talking about a main strip property in Park Hill, that had commercial main floor, apartments above, and it sold, but they're really excited about buying another one in Park Hill. And these people are Elgin County. So we're seeing consumer habits shifting and changing, and the markets are always shifting, right? Where London used to be a little old town, and now London's kind of like Kitchener, and St. Thomas is kind of like London used to be, and towns like this are turning into mini St. Thomas's. How do you navigate that with your team from a planning perspective? I guess 2 questions. One, how often do you review your official plan? And then how do you make adaptations to the market and the consumer habits that are changing from your planning process? Because that's got to be fairly complicated.
Well, quite frankly, we're overdue in reviewing our official plan. It was due a few years ago, but due to changes in the Planning Act, as well as the approval of the Middlesex County official plan, we've been delayed. So it's supposed to be done every 5 years.
Okay.
And what will happen after that is the corresponding zoning bylaw will determine specific setbacks, uses, and things of that nature. But certainly what we need to review this time is our settlement boundaries for Elsa Craig, Park Hill, even Little Nairn, because as you've said, what people are looking for is changing. And we have to have opportunities for all people to get into the marketplace. We have to have everything from what we're looking right now, affordable housing in Park Hill, right up to the single family homes that are in the multi-million-dollar range and everything in between. So we're making sure that we have all of those different offerings to people. I think that's very important because there's a lot of people coming in off of the farms. The next generation are taking them over.
Yep.
And they don't want to move to London. Nothing against London, but they want to be where they have grown, where they've raised their children. So we have to have offerings for them. We have to have offerings for people who can't be on their own anymore and need to go to a senior residence. So we've been working with the folks in Elsa Craig to do their expansion as well at Crugwell Gardens. So there's everything here to keep people here is what's important. So when you're looking at official plan policy and reviewing all of your documents, you have to make sure that we're accommodating all of that. And then next, what will come along with it is all the amenities that we need from the commercial and institutional side as well.
And each little sub community, Nairn, Elsa Craig, Park Hill, they probably all have different personalities almost, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's an amalgamated municipality, and there'll be those that will never see themselves as the same municipality because they grew up when it was different, and that's fine. But what we see, the amount of volunteerism in Elsa Craig in particular is just huge. People of the community energy in that community is enormous. And in Park Hill, it's different again. We certainly have a lot of newcomers. We have people who are wanting to more invest. So it's just different feels. Not neither is wrong or right. It just is a different feel, different communities, and we need to treat them accordingly.
And I think there's an opportunity in that, right? Like our brokerage isn't the right brokerage for some people, and there's other places that are. There's some communities that are the right place for some people, and there's others that are. It's not a good or bad thing. I like the community pride aspect of it. It's very much like the Habs versus the Leafs. When you see it, it's like, no, I'm from here, and they're the worst because of this, that, and the other. And at the same time, you do see those communities come together because they have a lot of similar core values. But that said, generationally, like we deal with a lot of farmers, and we notice that where sometimes the kids are taking it over and sometimes they're not. And there is a big transition happening and a different perspective from the next generation as to what's important to them in the life that they want to live. When you're planning for an entire municipality, I guess, what are some of the things that you're planning in the next 3 to 5 years to accommodate some of those adjustments? I guess what's coming down the pipeline from a planning perspective?
Well, one major thing that I would like to incorporate as part of our official plan review is ensuring that we can assist farmers and the agricultural community um, to take away some of the limitations, to open them up to have diversified uses on their farms,
Mm.
to be able to have value added uses on their farms, to be able to add to the community some agricultural related commercial and industrial uses. When I say industrial, people kind of cringe, but light industrial things that are in keeping with utilizing things that are coming out of the ground or coming off the farms here in North Middlesex or in the surrounding area that can be transformed into a product that can be sold both locally and abroad. We have so much opportunity here, and we have the people to do it, the resources here. So why ship it off to get that next transformation done? Let's do it here.
And can you give us some examples of like some things that you think would be like a flex use on a farm?
Well, I mean, obviously, the major use that comes to mind immediately, of course, is Park Hill Meats. They are doing a major expansion project right now, utilizing the products and that come locally, and even they're shipping in livestock from afar to provide for their business where they're located, and they're shipping around the world. But on the more local market, businesses that might be producing a product on their farm, can they transform it something into something on the farm that can be shipped or sold as something else or something related, and allowing for that to take place right on the farm.
I like the tone that you're taking too, because I think that lines up nicely with what a lot of us have been looking for is flexibility from the standpoint of like removing restrictions, not from a perspective of just open up the market and let people do bad business practices. You need regulations in place to make sure that you reward the good people and punish the bad people because there are bad actors out there 100%. But looking at the zoning bylaw and saying like what actually works for the community. I'll give you an example. When we did the start.ca acquisitions back in the day, there was a light industrial building that they were looking to acquire, and the official plan said light industrial, sorry, you can't do this. And the conversation was like, well, that's 500 jobs that are just going to go to Kitchener. And they made the adaptation. They said, no, like what's best for the community. It does sound like you're taking the same approach for North Middlesex as a whole, taking, the individual sub communities in place. Are there any other trends that you're noticing, or are people coming down the highway wanting to open little hobby farms and little experiential type things on property so that I can bring my daughter to play with the goats and do all that type of stuff?
We have a couple of interesting uses that are popping up. A there's one location where they're going to be putting in a farm store. People can go there and stay there and have the farm experience. And there's a group of people that are putting that together. That's it's quite interesting. We have people that want to. I mean, the usage of this building, but a lot of farmers are looking, or farm properties are being using for event venues for things like weddings and things of that nature. It adds some complexity because we have to be concerned for fire code and building code and safety, but it's certainly a use that I don't think was as popular as today. And a lot of brides are looking for these different experiences. So we're seeing a lot of unique things. There is someone who's looking to do some outdoor recreation and zip line, that type of thing. And so it's exciting. It's nice to see people thinking outside the box, looking at our area as an area to try those things out. And I think we are the perfect location for it. We are right in the center between a growing community being London, but people wanting to move out of the urban area. I'm seeing, and we're very close to the shorelines of Lake Huron and Grand Bend, which are so busy. So close proximity, but be able to have the rural lifestyle.
Yeah, it's kind of the best of both worlds from that aspect. And like people that aren't local to this area, there's some beautiful crown land as well too. The conservation area is absolutely stunning. And you start really opening your eyes as to what's around you. I think that's why we're seeing the transition happen from a real estate perspective is people leave Toronto. I want to move to a smaller town. So they go to Mississauga. Mississauga goes to Kitchener. Kitchener goes to, I want to go to a smaller town. They go to London. And all of us who bought houses 15, 20 years ago are like, I need a little bit more breathing room. And that natural transition we're definitely seeing is great for the ecosystem as a whole. I do think being a girl dad, I know really good parks are important to me. I look at how much fun we're going to have when we're out there playing. But those little experiences that I see when I'm traveling, we always stop into those little farm experiences. We meet people at blueberry farms and honey farms and really get our hands dirty in the community. And it's amazing once you start talking to people in the community, how we are all interconnected. Even here, there's people here that knew people in my life and we had connections that I've never met before. And I think that's really, really cool. I know we're going to talk to Brandon Drew, who's in the Economic Development Corporation, and talk about incentives for business and what that looks like. Like if you want to be a business owner and pop open a shop on Main Strip in Park Hill, how would you do that? Because there are people here that are artists and people that do all kinds of different business that don't even realize that there are opportunities to integrate with your community in a bigger way where you're not taking on all the risk and they can actually give you that leading hand, introduce you to the right people that are going to help you get your business going. But before we do that, to wrap up your session, I want to ask you about why North Middlesex and Park Hill. Like there's got to be some things that you absolutely love about this area, given your background in transitions. What are some of the biggest reasons you love this area?
Well, it's interesting because people often say to me, "You were from Muskoka? What brought you here?" And there's lots of reasons I ended up here, but what keeps me here is the people.
Yeah.
It is so, so friendly. And it is a place where people can raise family without the fear of the negative elements. I have my own grandchildren growing up here, and it's such a safe environment for them. And as I mentioned before, in the center of everything, it offers you all the amenities of some of the more developed areas without having to be there, without the congestion, without the traffic. What we have to do here actually right now is, we have to add some things to accommodate all the people coming because we are about to double the size of our communities. And so we are working as a municipality right now to add some of those things like daycare and making sure the schools are large enough and all of those things to accommodate our expanding population. But I just love it. It really it holds once you're here for a bit, it gets into your heart and you start to really appreciate all that it has to offer. It's something you can't. It's not a tangible thing. It's a feeling, and I feel it very strongly. Just love this community.
Yeah, and great ice cream, sandwiches, food. Actually, we'll be feeding you guys shortly. A couple actually before we land the plane. I guess going back to what we were talking about earlier, like working together, because again, there's investors, agents, builders, people in finance. What do people get wrong? Is it not doing their due diligence? Is it people that come with all these big ideas, but they don't consult on how things are supposed to go in order of sequence? Is that where most of the problems come in?
I think people start a project by throwing a lot of money at it before they do their due diligence. And that's where I see they go wrong. Come in and talk to us. Give myself a call or any member of my staff a call. Come in. We'll sit you down. We'll go through all aspects of what you're thinking before you buy the property, before you spend the millions of dollars.
Sure.
Get all the facts first. And then once you are aware of those things, I mean, there's obviously dollar signs behind some of these things, but at
Sure.
least you have that knowledge. You have the way forward, and then you can intentionally make those decisions in an educated way, without. I've had a few people that go off on a tangent on their own before investigating, and they sometimes fall flat. And that's always disappointing from my perspective. You want them to be successful,
Yeah.
but if you'd come and seen us first, and we could have maybe avoided some of that for you.
And I think that's the point of what we're trying to do is build those bridges. I suppose Dave and Kim were with me in Windsor. Recently we were looking at an affordable housing project, and it was executed incredibly well through the financing side, the construction side, and the municipal side. And it was like hours and hours and hours of pre-consultations, everything lined up before they actually executed. And then there was somebody that tried to come in and rip off and duplicate what they did, and they fell flat on their face, and they're sitting on this project that they can't sell. And this guy's going to go in and actually help them recover it. We had a very in-depth conversation around it's honestly all in the planning stages. And when I started working with government bodies across our entire territory, I noticed a pattern where, a lot of times where they felt frustrated was people would come in with their ideas and try and bull rush them through rather than coming in and just asking the question of like, what are you guys planning as a municipality? If I have X amount of dollars that I'm looking to invest, or this is what my use case is going to be, personal, business, or whatever, how can I best succeed? And you start building those relationships and go in and actually see human beings. I think that is so key as well. Like, calling the zoning office is the quickest way to just wait forever for a response because they're busy. But you walk into a municipal office, I've never not really gotten an answer, or I've at least made a connection and gotten the job done a lot quicker. And I think that's a great piece of advice, that you're there to help in the pre-planning stages. On the real estate side, I'd also say make sure you're working with people that know what they're doing and are putting the right things in the contract to afford you the time to do the due diligence. Like, don't feel pressured. And we're thankfully in an area where we can put conditions in a contract, and you can work with people that'll help you on the financing side, on the planning side, and on the execution side. So I definitely appreciate you making time. If anybody's here that wants to connect with Carolyn, she'll be here, and feel free to make an introduction as well too. Or if you're watching the replay and you're curious about developing in North Middlesex, what that looks like, connect with us and I'll make a direct connection for you as well. But thank you so much, Carolyn. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.